We'll teach you all the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll teach you all you wanna know. Come with us. Come with us.
Story time with Siziba.
The River God uNyaminyami, written by Fortune Tazvivinga Siziba, illustrated by Mhlenzima, edited by Njabulo Moyo and Naison Tfala. Once upon a time, in the deepest southernmost part of the African sun, there was a land called Zimbabwe. In that land there was a chiefdom where two twin brothers Chiamuluvu and Busongo were born to Chief Nyambela and Queen Chimvula of the Tonga people. Chiamuluvu was the youngest and so was the apple of his mother's eye, whereas Busongo was the chief's heir and favorite. The chief always took Busongo with him everywhere he went. Queen Chimvula, on the other hand, always let Chiamuluvu carry Hendombonda pipe, which in the Batonga custom is a big smoking pipe used by women only. Ever since the princes were young, Chiamuluvu was always envious and jealous of Busongo, to the extent that he killed his brother whilst they had gone fishing on the great big river by drowning him. Chiamuluvu then went back to his people and lied that his brother had been taken by a big river monster. Zimbabwe, the chief, became very sad and sick. A search party was sent to the river, but alas, the young prince's remains were never found. Chief Zimbabwe did not take the news very well, and so died of heartbreak. Queen Chimvula also died at the shock of losing her husband, as she had not suspected things would turn out that bad. Drums were sounded to alert everyone that 3 members of the royal family had died. The Batonga people mourned their chief, queen, and prince. After ceremonies and customs were made, Chiamuluvu succeeded his father and became the new chief of the Batonga people. The ancestors who are said to be watching over the land and its people became very angry and changed the young Prince Busongo into a half-fish, half-snake, so that he could stay in the river, which was the Batonga people's source of livelihood, as they got water and fish from it. Prince Busongo's rebirth saw the ancestors giving him a new name, uNyaminyami, which means the river god. As destiny can never be changed, the ancestors made sure that even as a fish snake, Busongo would rule the Batonga people. Chiamuluvu, who was a ruthless, evil and conceited ruler, also bowed down to his brother to ask for food, because the ancestors made sure that all sorts of different disasters affected the Batonga people as a way of punishment to their new ruler. Chiamuluvu's hatred for Busongo never ended after he took his life. He hated him even when he was dead. With instructions from the ancestors, the spirit mediums cautioned Chiamuluvu that he had to try and appease the ancestors by accepting uNyaminyami to become a symbol of the Batonga and great festivals be made in honor of uNyaminyami. Whenever the Batonga did something wrong, the ancestors would show their wrath by sending uNyaminyami to cause floods and drought. Years passed by, and one day in a neighboring chiefdom, a beautiful maiden from the basket maker's household emerged. Her name was Zambezi. Her beauty was so radiant that people came from far and wide to see her. Every woman envied her, and every mother wanted their daughters to be just like her. When Zambezi came of age, many men, both young and old, began knocking at her father's door. But she turned all of them down because she wanted to marry for love. Even Chiamuluvu heard of this rare beauty and wanted to marry her as one of his wives, but again Zambezi turned him down. One day when Zambezi was by the riverside collecting reeds to make baskets like she had always done, she wandered deeper into the river than she seldom did. It is then that Zambezi thought she felt there was a presence watching her. Then through the corner of her eyes, she saw what looked like eyes looking at her. The eyes started shining. Zambezi became afraid, and she ran away as fast as her legs could carry her. The next day, her father sent Zambezi to gather some more reeds, and even though she was afraid and remembered tales about a monster that had taken the life of a neighboring prince, she went back. After she went and saw nothing, Zambezi continued to gather her reeds. As she became engrossed in her work, Zambezi began to sing an old song that her mother used to sing to her. uNyaminyami, who had been asleep, heard the song. He forgot what and where he was and began to sing along. When Zambezi heard the beautiful voice, she turned to see who the voice belonged to. Zambezi was shocked with what she saw. Zambezi started screaming and ran away for dear life. In her confusion, she ran towards the opposite direction from home and ran straight into a strange-looking old man. He had 2 big toes on each foot. His sight alone made her faint. Zambezi awoke to find herself in a strange smoke-filled shack with the old man sitting and watching her. She began to scream, but the old man called her by her name and said he had been wondering when she would come because he had seen her in a dream many years ago. Zambezi was shocked at all that the old man told her. The old man then mixed some herbs to protect her as she was embarking on this great job that the ancestors had for her. He then told her to meet her the next day by the riverside before the sun rose. The old man cautioned Zambezi never to tell anyone of what she had seen or all that he had told her, for all would reveal itself in good time. The next day, Zambezi left her father's home before anyone else was awake. As soon as she approached the great river, she saw the old man standing next to a big fire. Even though she was afraid, the old man's being there convinced her that she was not losing her mind and was safe. The old man smeared Zambezi with some strange oils and ointments, all the while making chants. All of a sudden, the ground started shaking and a bright light appeared on the river. The old man started clapping his hands and motioned Zambezi to do the same. He started chanting praises, and what Zambezi saw made her heart skip a beat. She had never seen a creature like the one she saw before her. The legends Zambezi had heard growing up about the river monster were true. A creature half fish, half snake was on the surface. Its eyes shone like a bright light. Its body was as black as the night and very slimy and shiny. The fish snake began to speak in a majestic voice of a man, asking them who dared to wake uNyaminyami. The old man genuflected as a sign of respect and moved closer to the surface and called the creature by its name, Busongo, chanting his praises and totems. At that moment, the fish snake began shaking the waters violently because it was angry, belching like a volcano. Smoke came out of uNyaminyami's mouth and his words crackled like thunder. He said he had taken a new name, uNyaminyami, because to him Busongo was in the past. Zambezi shivered because she was afraid and stayed back. The old man coaxed Zambezi to sing the song she had sang in his dream. As if Zambezi knew which song he was talking about, she started singing softly, a song in the language of the Batonga. uNyaminyami calmed down and joined her in singing that beautiful song. uNyaminyami turned and started swimming towards the shore. When he got there, he saw the beautiful face of Zambezi. They both stopped singing and looked at each other. A loud thunder from a cloudless sky was heard, followed by complete darkness for a split second. Out of the blue, a most handsome, strong man was lying beside Zambezi. uNyaminyami awoke and saw that he was transformed to a human being once again. He could not believe it. At that moment, Zambezi knew that the ancestors indeed had a great purpose for her because of what she had just witnessed. The old man explained that his being human was only temporary, as the ancestors wanted uNyaminyami to avenge himself and also to deliver his people from the ruthless iron rule of his brother. But first, the old man had to prepare Busongo because Chiamluvu had associated himself with evil, so it would not be easy to defeat him. One of Chiamluvu's spies, Gimbi, who had been following Zambezi to the river, witnessed her and Busongo spending time together. Gimbi ran as fast as he could to tell the chief of what he had seen. Chiamluvu did not believe Gimbi, for he had killed his brother with his own hands, and so he ordered the spy to be killed. Chiamluvu then ordered his warriors to bring Zambezi to him for questioning. The warriors went to Zambezi's father's home and forcefully took her to the chief. When Zambezi got there, she refused to have anything to do with Chiamuluvu because she knew all that he had done to Busongo, and she swore that she was already in love with Busongo. Chiamuluvu became furious and nevertheless decided to throw a wedding feast to marry Zambezi by force.